The war was supposed to be fast, clean, decisive. One great blow, then victory. Instead, within 1 week, more than 500,000 men would be killed, wounded, captured, or missing. And the road to Paris would become the place where the old world learned what modern war really meant. September 1914, northeastern France, the Marne River. Paris lies close enough to hear the distant thunder. German armies have smashed through Belgium, driven deep into France, and forced the Allies into a desperate retreat. France is bleeding. Britain is barely holding. Germany believes victory is within reach. Nearly 2 million soldiers are now moving across the countryside. French armies, the British Expeditionary Force, the German First and Second Armies. Horses collapse. Roads choke. Telegraph wires hum. Airplanes circle above the fields, watching troop columns below. This is no longer the war of emperors and parade uniforms. This is machinery, speed, panic, and mass death. At the center stands General Joseph Joffre, the French commander-in-chief, calm, heavy-set, silent. While others see collapse, he sees something else. The German advance is fast. Too fast. Their supply lines are stretched. Their armies are separating. Between them, a dangerous gap is opening. By the end of this story, the meaning of 1 week will become clear. Why Paris survived. Why Germany's quick victory died. And why historians still see this battle as the moment Europe crossed into a darker century. Germany's plan is bold, almost brutal in its confidence. Strike through neutral Belgium, sweep across northern France, turn around Paris, trap the French armies, crush France quickly, then turn east against Russia. But Belgium resists. Britain enters the war. French attacks in Alsace-Lorraine fail. The British fight hard at Mons and Le Cateau, then fall back. Soon, the Allied retreat stretches across roads, villages, and rivers. Every mile south feels like another step toward ruin. But here is what nobody tells you. Retreat is not always defeat. Joffre uses the retreat like a forge. He removes commanders, shifts divisions, rebuilds broken lines. France is falling back, but it is not falling apart. Paris is now under threat. German troops reach within roughly 30 miles. The French government begins leaving the capital. Civilians hear rumors before they hear guns. Shops close. Families pack. The city prepares for the shadow of occupation. Yet the German right wing has a problem. General Alexander von Kluck's First Army turns east of Paris, not west. That single movement exposes his flank. It also pulls his army away from General Karl von Bülow's Second Army. Between them, the gap grows. Above the battlefield, French aircraft spot the shift. Wireless intercepts confirm the danger. The Allies now know what the Germans do not fully understand. The attack on Paris has created a weakness beside Paris. A battle once decided by cavalry scouts is now being shaped by airplanes and radio signals. The future has arrived early. It is fragile, crude, dangerous, but it can see what generals on horseback cannot. Joffre acts. A new French Sixth Army forms near Paris under General Michel-Joseph Marne. The British Expeditionary Force steadies itself. The French Fifth Army prepares to strike. The Allies have been retreating for days. Now, they turn around. On September 5th, 1914, the first blow lands along the Ourcq River. Marne's Sixth Army attacks von Kluck's flank. The French are outmatched in places. Their losses are severe. But the attack does its job. It forces von Kluck to look away from Paris and toward the new threat. On September 6th, Joffre orders the general counter-offensive. The Sixth Army presses from the west. The French Fifth Army attacks Bülow from the south. The British move into the widening gap between the German First and Second Armies. The trapper is becoming trapped. If you're finding this fascinating, make sure you're subscribed. We cover forgotten history like this every week. The fighting becomes confused. Villages change hands. Artillery smashes roads and farms. Orders arrive late. Men march toward gunfire without knowing the larger design. In Luxembourg, Moltke the Younger tries to command armies spread across a front too vast to control. The machine is running beyond the reach of its maker. Then Paris itself enters the battle. General Joseph Gallieni needs reserves moved fast. Railways are not enough, so the city gives what it has: taxis, buses, civilian drivers. On the night of September 6th to 7th, hundreds of vehicles roll out. They carry thousands of reserve infantrymen toward the front. The drivers move through darkness. Headlights shaded, roads uncertain. Destinations unclear. The meters are still running. The taxis do not win the battle alone. Their numbers are too small for that. But symbols matter in war. A civilian city is now carrying rifles to the front line. Paris is not waiting to be saved. Paris is driving into the darkness to save itself. By September 8th, von Kluck has pulled more troops toward the 6th Army. The gap with Bülow widens further. The British advance into it. The French 5th Army presses harder. The German right wing begins to feel the walls closing in. On September 9th, fear reaches German command. Bülow worries his 2nd Army may be cut off. Von Kluck's flank is exposed. Communications falter. Coordination breaks apart. Moltke receives fragments, not clarity. The Schlieffen plan, designed for precision, is dying in confusion. Then the decisive order comes: retreat. Bülow pulls back. Von Kluck follows. The German armies withdraw north toward the Marne River. The road to Paris closes behind them. The great gamble has failed. Between September 10th and September 12th, the Germans fall back to the Marne. The Allies pursue, but they are exhausted. Men have marched, fought, starved, and slept in fragments. Victory is real, but not complete. The German army is bruised, not destroyed. Then the battlefield changes shape. The Germans stop on high ground north of the Aisne. The Allies arrive opposite them. Neither side can break through, so both sides dig. A shovel becomes as important as a rifle. Trenches begin to scar the earth. This is the true legacy of the Marne. It saves Paris. It breaks Germany's hope for a quick victory. It kills the fantasy that the war will be over by Christmas. But it also locks Europe into something worse. A moving war becomes a buried war. The cost is staggering. In roughly 1 week, around 500,000 men are killed, wounded, captured, or missing. The numbers are almost too large to feel. So imagine one village road, one field hospital, one train platform. Then multiply it until the mind refuses to follow. The battle becomes known in France as the miracle on the Marne. But miracles in war are never clean. They come with shattered bodies, burned farms, missing sons, and a victory that opens the door to 4 more years of slaughter. Modern war reveals itself here. Aircraft spotting troop movements, radio intercepts shaping decisions, railways and taxis moving men into battle, civilians drawn into the machinery of survival. The line between battlefield and city begins to blur. The First Battle of the Marne is not just a story of generals and maps. It is a warning about plans. Every empire believes its plan is rational. Every command room believes the arrows will move as drawn. But history does not obey arrows. It obeys friction, fear, exhaustion, courage, and chance. A gap opened near Paris. Men stepped into it. A capital survived. A plan collapsed. And from that collapse came trenches, attrition, and a century shaped by the violence that followed. Sometimes history turns not on the biggest army, but on the smallest opening. If this shocked you, wait until you hear what happened next. The brutal race to the sea turned the Western Front into a wound across Europe. Like and subscribe for more cinematic history that uncovers the moments that changed everything.